want to start with reading the minutes? Who's got those? I have them.
You just might have to speak a little louder because we have this weird vent thing happening.
Oh, okay.
So Helen can hear too.
It's starting to thunder here, just for the record.
Okay, yeah, it's here
Yeah.
too. So between the thunder and the vent,
Where is she?
just yell. No, she's at home, I think.
Oh.
Yes, actually, you know what? It started raining here.
Yay, the rain. Yeah. Just in time for our trustees.
It's so dark out there.
The trustees meet and the skies open up.
Okay, so I can read the minutes from last month's meeting. The meeting was called to order at 6:04 p.m. Present, Director Jen Crosby, Chair Janice Cook, Vice Chair Paula Levine, Nita Abbott, Denise Conti, Helen Herzog, Terry LaGrade, Kate Mercier, Michelle Petras, Candace Rivera. Absent, no one. Minutes of last month's trustee meeting were read and corrected and accepted as corrected. The director's report. The library has had a recent issue with lack of water, unable to be fixed by maintenance staff, so well company called. They replaced the well pipe, which was full of holes, and also the well pump. The problem appears to be corrected. Jen had a meeting with Chief O'Grady regarding the library security. The camera system would be beneficial, but the police cannot watch it from the police department as they are too overwhelmed. We can get one for a few $1,000s that would monitor the reading garden and the parking lot and would record in case we needed to look back on it. A motion sensor light would be good too. He asked that we looked into having our parking lot light, at least one, stay on through the night so they can monitor our building better. Contacted Alarm Works about their new camera system monitoring that would be linked with our alarm system. A maintenance request has gone in 6 to 8, requesting a motion sensor light be added to the reading garden area.
Oh, hello.
Oh, boy.
We good?
Continue.
Okay, sounds good. Reading garden area for the library grounds. I don't know what that is. Acuity?
Acuity, yes.
Okay, Acuity Technologies has been purchased by a company named ICS. They will be coming to our 9 old patron access computers. This includes adding Windows 10 and Google Chrome to all the machines to make them more easily accessible to the public. We hope to do 1 to 2 a year after that until they are all updated. A maintenance request has gone to the town, reminding the team that outdoor play groups are happening every Wednesday and Friday mornings at 10:30 and asking if they can plan around those times, preferably mowing before Wednesday morning. We have received a donation of Adirondack chairs from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts York Street Industries in Ludlow Correctional Industries Program at the Hamden County Sheriff's Department via Lou Berry. A thank you note has been sent on behalf of the staff, trustees, and friends of the library. The book sale was a success, making $2,005 during the month of May. Policy work. Jen has made updates to our loan period and item limits policy. This needs a trustee vote. Kate made a motion to amend the policy to remove late fees. Denise seconded, all in favor. Next month, Jen will be working on updating the material selection policy as it pertains to the recent book challenges happening all around the country. Harris report discussion. Statistics being collected 1 week prior to the beginning of the summer activities and will be done the week after it begins to compare. Statistics are taken for 1 week period each quarter and then used to estimate total financial fiscal year in-house statistics. Patron count, reference questions, phone calls, computer uses, meeting room uses, etc. As per MDLC guidelines. All the statistical info is forwarded to the state. Jen is currently working on statistics from FY '22, fiscal year '22, for errors that is due to the MDLC in August. These statistics can be accessed and will be reported when complete. Upcoming summer activities. Summer programs are listed on our website in great detail. Knitting, quilting, book group, take and make adult crafts, adult summer reading program, teen and youth summer reading program, stop and crafts, play group, Lego mystery box challenge, read to dogs, Inky the Whale program, soap attack program making shark soap. The adult summer reading program is Read Beyond the Beaten Path and will host a stress release night of snuggling baby farm animals, hosted by Firefly Fields in Southwood. There will be prizes that focus on outdoor activities such as mini golf, ice cream, etc. The children's program theme is Ocean of Possibility. Warrants. $1,716.90 for Gonnet Speed, Baker and Taylor, Blackstone Publishing, Demco, and the library store. $530.21 for Baker and Taylor, $737.20. Gonnet Speed, Baker and Taylor, and Ingram Entertainment. Motion made by Fowler to accept the warrants as presented, seconded by Helen. All in favor. Nominating Committee. The nominating committee met prior to the trustee meeting tonight. They presented the new slate of officers for the upcoming year 22-23. Chairperson Paul Repeat, Vice Chairperson Kate Mercier, Secretary Michelle Christmas. Candace made a motion to accept the slate of officers as presented, seconded by Terry. All in favor. Other business, staff concerns. A few weeks ago in May, the director needed to refer to the library's pandemic policy as well as the minimum staff requirement policy. Copies of both policies handed out to the trustees. There was a staffing issue due to the COVID that necessitated the closing of the library for several afternoons as there was only one staff person. Volunteers were not available. Though the director followed the policies, there were complaints by patrons as well as some of the trustees that the library was closed and that alternate solutions may have been found to prevent the closure. The trustees, except for the chair, were not informed until after the fact. Several possible solutions were brought up, such as possibly hiring substitutes or sharing substitutes with neighboring communities. Where would money come from? Substitute funding had been cut along with staff hours some years ago. The director worked to get staff hours back. Also, having the trustees complete a query check so that they may pitch in. It was emphasized that the trustees should be informed if possible in case they are able to help prevent the closure. Jen is researching options and it was suggested that a committee be formed to assist the research of options and a plan going forward. This was tabled until July's meeting. Volunteer duties. The volunteer policy is on our website. Duties of a volunteer over 18 include shelving books and other materials, organizing shelves, assisting with programs for adults and children, and other duties as requested. Currently, our only long-term volunteers work the circulation desk. Currently, only our long-term volunteers work the circulation desk. We are working towards no volunteers working the circulation desk, as many libraries are moving away from this. Our director works the circulation desk until 12 noon each day. She is then available for appointments from 12 noon on. Appointments should be made to keep things confidential and professional. Matters should not be discussed in front of the public or other staff unless requested. Policy book is always available and many policies are listed on the website. Library goals. The library has a 5-year long-range plan in effect. Yearly action plans are written as well. Jen is working on library hours and services goals by working to add two part-time staff positions for fiscal year 24-25 24 and fiscal year 25. Added hours in September 2021 to be open 10:30 to 7 p.m. on Thursdays instead of 1 to 8 p.m. Patrons are happy to have the morning hours. Jen printed new trustee handbooks for everyone. New trustees packets will be given out at the next meeting to new members if they do not already have them. Janice Cook spoke to Chris Cloutier, financial advisor, regarding the New York security account. Market is down all over, but he sees signs of recovery. Risk level changed to 50% conservative, 50% moderate per his recommendation. He also said to stop checking it so often, yearly is enough. Helen gave an update on the Alice Stewart Memorial Garden. The solar fountain is working well, plantings are done. Boy Scouts are to build a little stone wall encircling the garden. Signage will be placed. The next trustee meeting, July 12, 2022, at the library, masks optional, meeting adjourned at 7:51 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Michelle Petras, recording secretary.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as read.
Can we bring up
Oh,
something
sorry.
about that?
Correction.
There was a couple corrections.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
That I saw too. There
Yes.
yes, should have been added
Okay.
to.
Under other business, kind of almost at the bottom of the page, it says substitute funding had been cut along with staff hours some years ago. Director worked to get staff hours back. You, just trying to make sure that that reads correctly. Did you lose hours?
We did, yeah, back in 2008, 2009, we had a recession, and the staff were most of the staff were cut at least 1 hour to 2 hours a week, and then we had our substitute funding was cut out at the same time. So that was cut first to prevent us from having to cut hours, and then went from there. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I misread that, so that's accurate the way it is?
Yes.
Okay.
In the paragraph that starts, our director works the circulation desk. It says policy book is always available. Should it say policy books are always available?
It's actually one big book
Oh,
of policies.
There?
Yeah,
okay.
it's a big book. But I always have that available now. It's on the, like, outside my office where I have a little mailbox. It is out there now, so that if anyone wants to look at it when I'm not available, you can. Try to keep it where everyone can see it, and then if the staff needs it as well.
I just wanted to, like, see if we can correct those. A sentence when talking about the meeting with Chief O'Grady, because it says the camera system would be beneficial, but the police cannot watch it from the police department as they are too overwhelmed there. But I don't know, it makes it sound like they're not putting the library as a priority. But like I wanted to say that like that their camera system is too overwhelmed by
Yeah,
the
it's
other
staffed
schools because
It's
I didn't
actually
think
like the
it-
camera system itself, like you said,
Right.
doesn't have enough room to add.
Right,
Like
and
another.
I don't want to make it sound like they're too overwhelmed to be
Maybe just as the camera
like,
Yeah.
Right. As their,
yeah,
The
like
camera
that
doesn't
was the
accommodate.
camera system,
their
yeah.
system doesn't accommodate for that, let's see. So we'll get rid of as they are too overwhelmed and add.
Their camera system is maxed out.
Yes.
Their current camera system, you could say.
Because as I was reading, it was like,
Right, I know, you always have to be careful. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Their current camera system cannot support it. That's perfect, okay, so I will make that change for next month. Okay. And,
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read and amended, unless there's further discussion.
Okay, I have Candace with that one already. Do you
Well,
want
no,
to-
but I
Oh,
didn't say
all right.
amended, so.
That's fine.
Okay, I'll start.
Anybody wants to?
I'll second it.
Who seconded
Denise seconded it, I'll second it.
Okay, so all in favor?
it? Aye.
I
Aye. She's a little delayed.
That's okay.
Okay, so we want to move on to the director's report? You're up, Jen.
Sure, okay. I'm just gonna go, I'm opening up our agenda so I can see. I might not go in this order, but I did make welcome binders. I made one for Denise, one for Candace, and I have one here for Nita. So I included in it our trustee bylaws, our mission statement, the American Library Association's Code of Ethics and Bill of Rights, a copy of last year's annual town report, fiscal year 2022 statistics, a copy of the budget, which includes this current year that we're in and the past couple of years, and then the past few months of minutes, which you guys probably already have, but I wanted to make it official and do everything we said. And I'm willing to do that for anyone who wants a copy. So if you've been on the board for a while, but you would like an update, or if you want to have a binder like this made for you, so that you have all the important stuff in the front of it that's all up to date. I even have like a page of statistics, which is kind of neat to look at. I'm happy to do them up for anyone else who might want one. Because as I'm doing it, I'm like, this might be something that everybody else might want too.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
I
have to
definitely want
order a
to,
couple.
Fantastic.
So you have a binder.
but, yeah, and, like, add the updated stuff. Like,
Okay.
this is a binder that was from a few years ago, and
Okay.
I wanna, like, start a new section and do from now, with
Awesome.
updated contact information, updated policies that we discuss, and, go over.
It's nice to have. It's nice to have everything updated.
Yeah, so like,
you know.
so I'll be able to pass this on to the next person.
The next person. Don't look too excited. You just started. Come on, Jen.
Jen, I have a question about the
Sure.
annual report.
Yes.
When is that done and submitted?
It's written in February of the year after, so this was for the calendar year 2021. I wrote it this February, so I submitted January, I started in January, I submitted in end of February, and then they usually publish it by March or April in the book format, but this is just our section of what we wrote.
Okay.
And so it's a little confusing because that's calendar year, but everything else in the town and library is done in fiscal year. I'm not really too sure why, but, so yeah, that's what that gets written every beginning of every year for the year before.
My second question is, this is kind of going back to the minutes that we read. Why are libraries moving away from using volunteers at the serve desk?
A lot of times it's harder for bigger towns to push getting more help, paid staff, if they have the volunteers doing the work that, quote unquote, the staff, yeah, am I saying that correctly? Volunteers can be doing the work that staff are doing, which isn't the case. In most cases, where the staff are doing all this behind the scenes stuff as well.
Right.
But in smaller libraries, it's pretty common practice to have some volunteers at least working the circ desk to help supplement that. So if we can move to a point where, and it's kind of a delicate balance, if we can move to a point where we get a couple more staff to work the circ desk, we can start to pull back on having our volunteers. But we usually use our volunteers who've been here the longest. They understand the privacy concerns of using a computer, looking at people's personal information. No one under the age of 18 is allowed to use the system. So we we are careful about that, but that's probably one of the concerns as well, you know, in a bigger library than ours. Thank you.
But volunteers usually have set schedules.
Yeah, in most cases,
Okay.
especially our volunteers, sometimes they stay a little later or leave a little early, but
Yeah.
everyone has their day and their time frame that they work in to kind of keep it so that not everyone's here at the same time.
Because sometimes you hear volunteer, and I know like the people who have been here even longer, like Denise, and that, like that you had a set schedule that you would show up on time
Yeah.
for, but like
Yeah.
other people, I always wonder like, for volunteers, like, oh, well, I'm just a volunteer. so I have to
Exactly.
show up,
So yeah,
you know,
some
and-
people do have that mindset
Yeah.
that you know, come in when I
Oh,
can. Denise just leaves me whenever she
couple minutes
wants
late.
to. Nah, it's, you know, for the most part, everyone's really faithful and great.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, that was in the back of my mind.
Yeah. Any other questions about the binder? Do you guys want me to do packets
like
for
that.
everyone?
I think you probably read your binder if it wants them, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I have more of them.
You probably don't need them anymore. Just, well, that's cool work.
We were gonna see about doing like packets, right, for like the new members?
Yes, that's what these are. That's,
Awesome.
even
Oh,
though
okay.
Candace and
All
Denise
in
have
one
needed
place.
one here for a while.
Love it.
Wow, they got
That's,
binders.
yeah, I did
That is
binders
Very
instead of
nice.
packets, right? But
Yeah.
everything is in these little doodads, yeah.
So Jen, the new members are Candace, Denise, and
Nita.
Mia.
Yeah. And anyone else who wants one, who might not have gotten one this official, I can do them up for everybody. And then everyone has kind of a new start, like a fresh start with everything in one place. Because I'm sure you guys don't always think like, oh, this is really super important, I should save this.
Mhm.
But I'm ready to look back on this.
Yeah.
You know. So, it's nice to have everything organized. It's like in the library.
That's a great
So-
idea. So,
All right, great. So I will do that up. I'll work on that. And
And if you want help with like putting stuff in together or
Okay.
whatever.
yeah, I can run off all this stuff. I have tons of these little sleeves, and I have a couple binders. So
Okay.
yeah, that would be great. Okay, so moving on, our ICS company, our tech company came. They had advised us that it would be kind of a waste of money to come in and update all of our old computers because they said our old computers are so out of date that they wouldn't bother updating them. So his, I don't know if I said this in our last meeting, but his advice was to start replacing the towers to all the computers, which in the building we have 21 computers total, including the staff computers. So I had told him at $1,000 a pop, we probably can't afford to do it all at once, but
Do you think as long that up?
yeah, right? So I did have him replace one, out at the, we've had a couple at the the little bank there that were really bad. So we had him replace one to kind of see how it went, and it's so cute. It's this little tiny tower, and it replaced the old tower. He used the same monitor, so we didn't have to buy new monitors, the whole thing. So we did that with the money in last year's computer network account. We had a little bit of money left in there, so I wanted to spend it. So we did that, and with this coming year, we will have probably about the same in that account, so I look forward to at least replacing one or two more in this fiscal year, which just started July 1st, so.
Is there a big difference?
It is, yes, it's so nice. And it's the one that, we have something called deep freeze software on all of our computers that the public uses that wipes them clean after people use them. And that's like the main one, so I figured that's a good one to start with so that we can easily get into that software and you can control all the computers from that one. So that's the one we did.
Oh, okay.
That probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you guys, but. So I will go from there and hopefully do at least one more this fiscal year, if not more, with some grant funding that we get. We are allowed to use the funds from the grant that we get from the state to buy things as long as it's something that the patrons can come in and physically use. We're allowed to use that money toward like our book money, the materials budget for the state, which we have to spend a certain amount every year. So it's nice that we can use that funding on that as well. So we'll see how many more we can do. I don't know if anyone saw, but I wrote a little letter to the editor.
No.
It was in the paper.
I think it's awesome.
I just kind of wanted to get, like a little something out to the community, just reminding them of how much the library does, what the library has, and just try to get people interested in everything we have going on, that we have the free Wi-Fi access, the printing, the space to hold community meetings, a place to meet with your family and friends, and basically just promoting the library as a center of our community. I also plugged in there that we have the Wi-Fi hotspots for people going on vacation, traveling, video games. We have the new Nintendo Switch games that are super popular. And then I put a little plug in there for all of our online media sources, such as the Hoopla, Libby, our Scholastic Teachables, our Mango language learning. So it's just kind of a cute little thing. It was published in, I believe this is the Sentinel, but I sent it to all of them. So it's kind of a neat little thing. And I've been in talks with, the local cable channel about possibly doing like a little blurb, like maybe I'll do like a little commercial or something.
What? I think that is awesome.
I sent it to him and he was like, you should do this. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, yes. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it won't be the first time. So I think that'll be fun. It'd be nice to just kind of get it out there. Like people, so many people come in and they're like, wow, I didn't know you had that. And I'm like, well, it's hard to get that information out there. So we'll try this avenue as well. It's kind of a little spark. And I'm also going to be working toward a campaign to get more Friends membership. And I feel like, as much as our friends do, I feel like the main place where this conversation has to happen is here in the library, where we say to the people, if you want to help, if you want to get it, you want to start being included and you want to help us raise money for all these programs, this is what we need help with. And I feel like coming from us is the best place to do that. So I'll be doing that. Our Friends membership drive month is September, so this is a little kind of gearing up toward that. So
How many memberships, Friends memberships do you get like during like the book sale? There usually is something where, like a renewal or
usually do.
signing up or something, and I didn't know if that was.
we usually do, I want to say we get between like 10 to 20 at the sale itself. I want to say we have 70.
I always thought that was a good idea, because, like people say, oh, that's great, because people forget.
Right, and like
the
being
mail
at
and-
the actual events
Yeah.
really kind of sparks people, and especially like really booky people who come in and they're like, I can help with this, and I can touch the books. Yes. Yes, you can, and you can do it, and it's fun. So it's nice to get like-minded people, and I think we have 74 members right now, which is down a little bit from last year, so I'd like to push for a better membership drive this year. Plus, we're still looking for a president and a treasurer. I have someone possibly who's going to take over as treasurer, but I'm not sure yet, so still looking for some help there. And I've got...
Is your friend Hannah willing to step up?
She is. She actually asked me, she missed our last meeting, but she asked me she's going to come to our September meeting, and hopefully she'll be getting involved. And I approached Linda, our volunteer Linda, on Thursday nights about possibly doing the treasurer position, because she had expressed some interest in talking to Leah about it, so.
Oh, she's been here for a while. Huh?
Yeah, and she's like, that's like what she did for her job previously, so I think she'll be good.
Yeah, she would be a good fit.
Yeah, definitely. So I've got the little bug in her ear. She's going to think about it and probably meet with Leah. And let's see, circling back to the Friends, you probably saw we have some book leftovers out there covered in the tarp. Heart Springs is coming to pick up tomorrow. And we will then be immediately starting to take donations for our September book sale. I'm not going to put it out in the press yet, unless anyone watches this meeting. They're going to know, but we're going to start looking for donations for that sale in the months to come, because September, I hate to say it, is approaching.
Don't even say it, don't say it.
Sorry, I'm really sorry. It's like the bad part about working in this field is you do have to look so far ahead at, like, okay, we got ready for summer back in February, so now we're already planning on, I think Jean ordered gnomes for her Christmas hunt already, and it's July. So we're thinking ahead always. We'll have gnomes. So we've got that started, and let's see. Nothing really new about the ARIS report. I'm working on the statistics. That's due in August, so I'll be continuing to work on that. Our hotspots that we get, they are currently supported by a federal grant that is expiring in September. So I am working with T-Mobile, which is the company that they went through, which all of our little hotspots are supported by T-Mobile. I'm going to get a price from them on what it would cost the library to continue to keep those going and see if we can work it into our budget. It would be easier if we could just keep those, maybe turn a couple off, but then maybe keep 3, because they really have been circulating. People come in and get them and take them out and take them on vacation with them, and I think keeping at least a couple would be great.
I've been a big advocate of those.
Yes.
I love it.
So even Alex from GCAM has borrowed it, multiple times to
Yeah.
use out in the fields and stuff, so it's really nice, it's really handy, and people have places to go and things to do, and sometimes we need Wi-Fi where there isn't any. Let's see, there was an email that came out from the MBLC. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it actually was recommending that trustees, the director, and the friends group should meet every 3 years to discuss like big picture library goals and how those organizations can support those goals together. So I was thinking that's a really good idea. We don't have to do it now. The friends are off until September anyway, but when the friends get their new people together, I was thinking it might be a good idea to have like a group meeting where we can sit down and say, okay, this is what the library is focusing on, this is what we'd like to do, and this is kind of where we all want to go. Every 3 years, we can put that in our little binder as the things we do every so often.
Oh, okay.
I think it would be a good idea. I know some towns have like a liaison that either is from the town or from the trustees that go to every friends meeting. I don't think we need to go, you guys, I go to all of them. I don't think we need to go to every meeting, but I think it would probably be advisable to have a,
I think so too, to do them as a board.
It shows a connection, it shows that
Right.
we're part of a team.
And that's how I started. When I
Yes.
first came here, I started with the friends.
yeah. And it's good because when we were building the building, we were very closely linked, but then after the building was built and we kind of trickled out with the big fundraising events, there wasn't as much of a cohesion between the two groups. And I think it's really important to keep a healthy working relationship between the trustees and the friends. So just throwing it out there, maybe that's something we can revisit in like October, November, next in the fall. Thinking ahead again. As far as what's going on in the building for programming, we are celebrating Shark Week next week. Very excited. We have, if anyone takes out a shark-related item, they get a raffle ticket. Jean's made up this huge basket, and Janice made up a big basket for the kids too. So we'll be doing Shark Week. We have little shark candies to hand out, and we have like one of those boards, the shark faces you can take your picture with.
Oh, so
Yes.
cute, like Bruce the Shark.
Yes, we were thinking
Or
about
Nemo.
fixing him to the return slot, so when people put their returns in, they put it through his mouth. Yeah, so we've got a lot of adorable things happening for Shark Week. The take and make crafts for adults have been super popular. We did make your own bookmarks last week, and they were gone within like 2 days. like people were mad.
That's awesome, it
So-
tells you when you want to do it.
Yeah, although what was funny is that one you had to have an iron to iron it together, and a lot of people were like, I don't have an iron.
Really? It's done an iron?
And I was like, I don't have
I
an
don't
iron.
iron and I even have
I don't have an iron in my house. And like, what else can we use? Like
It's
a,
out of the dryer. It's
we use like a
changed
pancake, like a waffle press.
up. Can I ask you a question?
Get creative. Yeah.
What is the theme of the children's,
The
program?
children's one is Oceans of Possibilities.
And, okay, good.
So that Shark Week fits right into there.
Okay, and then the adults,
The adults is Read Beyond the Beaten Path.
read beyond the beaten path?
Yes, so this year's adults were trying to encourage them to get outside and get some
Okay.
vitamin D while they read.
Okay, like that.
Hopefully not drop their books in the pool. Which happens a lot more than you think. And we're continuing with our book group is happening actually this Thursday. The knitting group, the quilting group, and we have in the back of the library, we have an ongoing puzzle table and an ongoing coloring page table. I bought one of those big coloring pages. It's almost like the size of this table where you can just spread it out and people can add to it. And I've got the pencils back
That's
there.
cool,
That's a
Ken.
great idea.
Yeah, like I've had so many people using it, and a couple people kind
fun.
of scribbled on it, but still I was like, forget it, we'll color it around and it's fine.
Where's it located?
It's in the back of the library, the back two tables.
By the big window with planets on.
Is
Even
it down
in
the
great
children's
hall.
area?
No, the regular,
Okay.
stacks. So I have
I
like
love
a
that. What a great
summary
idea.
puzzle going on,
I
and
love
people
that.
can just sit down and, play at
I
whatever.
love that puzzle idea.
Right?
I
It's
think it's
nice.
wonderful.
Oh my
And
God.
like people get really into it too. Like they'll be sitting here all day and they're like, oh my God, I have to go home. So it's been fun. And we were kind of focusing more on like passive programming this year because I know people are still a little nervous about getting together, don't come to big events. So having things people can kind of come do on their own, but still get to enjoy, the things the library's offering. This week we have Make Your Own Shell Necklace, which was Janice's mastermind idea. It's really cute. I actually wore it last week to kind of show people, and it's so cute, I think I'm going to keep it. I don't think she's getting it back.
And that's adult and.
That one's for adults
Oh,
only. Yeah. And then we're doing, we're going to have some kind of make your own dishcloth. Jean had all these knitting needles and stuff, so she's making up those kits. And then we're gonna do a make your own summer ornament and some kind of really cool little candle dish. It's gonna be, you have to ask her, she's got all the ideas. So we'll have that ongoing for the next couple weeks. And yeah, it's going well so far. People seem to be really into it. And before I get into our policy, I do have a little update on our statistics. When I did the spring week, our average was 105 people per day in the building. And we had 1,195 circulations that week. And then I did our summer week, and the average was about 145 patrons per day and 1,500 circulations in that week, which I went back and looked at the year before in that particular week, and we were 500-ish circulations over what we did that same week last year.
Oh,
So,
really? Wow.
yeah, we're doing really great. People are finally showing that they're happy to be coming back and using the library more than in the previous years. And I didn't know, I wanted to kind of throw this out to the board that this is something that I can do monthly. If you guys are interested in knowing the statistics, I can pretty much pull up, what we did for the month before at each meeting to kind of let you guys know how circulation's going, if you're interested in it, and knowing what the average patron count was. And
Yeah, I think it would be,
I think that's a great idea, I'd like to see the statistics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know how we are doing compared to 5 years ago?
I didn't look that far back, but as far as last year, we're definitely up from last year. But that's something I can do too. I can look into, do some comparisons for us.
That would be great, thank you.
Awesome, I'll do some monthly stats, and compare.
Jen?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes? Hi.
I'm gonna say, I think a lot of these programs are great, and I think they're gonna draw a lot of people to the library.
Me
Well,
too.
Thank you.
I second that.
Yeah, I've been trying to post it on Facebook to kind of get the word out there, let people know about it. And then hopefully in the fall, we can get some in-person programming rolling again. I have some ideas in the works with my fellow directors around the area, so.
Oh, perfect, that's perfect.
Yeah. And then somebody does a chocolate workshop and they do a chocolate and coffee pairing. It's like,
Oh, my God.
I'm in for that one.
right? That we're gonna have to do in person, because I'm gonna need some of that. But I thought that would be really neat. She's not too far, I think she lives in Connecticut, so
Oh, perfect.
got my eye on that, because who doesn't like coffee and chocolate? Okay, so I'll work on that. And let's see. Okay, so then the policy. And I know some of you didn't really get to read it on your devices as well, but I can do a print copy. So I sent everyone our old material selection policy. It didn't even have a date on it. So I'm not really sure when this was created. But I went through and I looked at some other libraries. I used Southborough as one of my models, and a couple other libraries to kind of see what they had instead. And they seem to have kind of short and sweet the whole deal. Instead of having this like 5-page material selection policy that nobody's going to read, I made this collection management policy, which kind of generalizes, and it makes it a lot more readable. And this is what we would give to people if they were starting to question any books that we had in our collection, if they wanted to challenge something that we chose, if they want to challenge why we kept something and didn't take it off the shelf after something, came up in the news or about the author or for whatever reason. So I created that, as well as the page that they can return to us to challenge the material. It's a request for review of library material. So for whatever reason they might not be happy with a selection we have, they can tell us why. What part of the material offended them, whatever it is, if they belong to an organization, all that stuff. So this collection management policy, it doesn't break it down like the other one broke it down by adult fiction, adult nonfiction, large print. I didn't go that crazy because I don't think people really want to read all that. So this one basically says, it explains that we strive to maintain a balance in both our materials and our services for all members of the community. I put in there that we were responsible for providing equal access and services for everyone. All materials are selected with the needs and preferences of the community in mind. It's based on need, content, recommendations, and professional review sources. And to also support our school and our homeschool curriculums, I thought that was important because we do purchase a lot of children's books based on what our homeschool groups in the area are doing and what they're asking for and what the schools are doing. Does anyone have any questions? Or would you like me to read it?
I just am curious about the, which ones are censored. That was a big thing this school.
Yes. So we don't censor anything here in our building.
Little House on the Prairie censored. That's not in a lot of libraries right now.
We have some, I think.
And that's like, I read all those.
The one thing we
As a
did
child
do,
and loved that.
Why was this censored?
It's considered not,
Doesn't politically correct.
depict. That's why they got it now.
right, there were certain Dr. Seuss certain Dr. Seuss books that we actually pulled from our circulating shelf, and we have in a special collection that people can request. And our main reason for that is because people were stealing them because they're worth a lot of money now. Because of
Wow.
the big issues that came up with Dr. Seuss portraying people in a specific way, and people were stealing them from the library and selling them on
Cancel
eBay.
culture or something
Yeah.
like that.
That awareness back.
Right, well, that's the thing, is it's the sign of the times, and so we now have them still available if people do want to look at them, but then we will know exactly who has it, and,
That's a great idea.
they don't get stolen, but they're still there for
And
you to
then
see.
you don't have people saying stuff that it's in circulation.
Right, it's not out there in people's faces,
Yeah.
but they are available if people do want them.
So Jen, you, in here, maybe once or twice, it talks about popular nonfiction, maybe it says it somewhere else too. So what is that based on? Is it based on the New York Times bestseller list? I mean,
Yes, most of the time it's based on, I use the New York Times bestseller list a lot. I use Goodreads a lot for and a lot of it's, especially because I've been here so long, is based on what I know our patrons that use the library a lot like. So I'll go to, like, say that our patrons are really into Baldacci, and I'll go in and I'll find a whole bunch of read-alikes, and people are obsessed over this certain Baldacci book. I'll find books that are like it, because I know our patrons will take them out. And I also look at the reviews. I try not to buy anything that got really bad reviews, even if it is a read-alike. So there's a lot that goes into it. But I try to get the popular ones, meaning more of like the stuff that I know our patrons would like. And then with the nonfiction, I try to get really relevant topics, things that I've noticed people asking for, things I've noticed in the news are becoming things that people are looking into. And also Amazon, is it Amazon or Barnes & Noble? One of the major retailers has a really good section on what people have been buying. And so that kind of gives me an idea of what people have been looking for. If people are willing to spend money on certain nonfiction titles, they're probably going through, these are the topics they're going through and want to look into and are interested in. So I take some of it with a grain of salt, because they're not always really well-reviewed books, but I kind of look into a lot of different avenues before I purchase.
So if there was somebody who did fill out a request for review of the library material and they had a valid point, so what would happen?
So then this would come to a trustee meeting, and we would discuss it, and we would decide as a board
Okay.
what we were going to do with the material, and we could then address it to them in a letter as to why we're going to keep it or what we're going to do with it, and thank them for their concerns.
has it ever happened?
I think it happened in our old building before I was the director, but it hasn't happened, knock on wood, since I became the director. But it's definitely, we have had people word of mouth say, hey, I've heard about this book, you might just want to not recommend it for anyone under this age, or whatever it is, but nothing that's come to the point where someone wanted something taken from our shelf. So, but it's there, and that's why this policy was so old, and even the old request form, it's like yellow. So you can tell it's been a long time, and so it definitely needed a refresh. And I think this keeps it, simple. We can hand this to people if they do question how we choose our books. And it also gives, like, in accordance with the Mass General laws, there are standards, and that the library uses them. So, yeah. Does anyone else? Any other questions about it? It's not in there yet. I haven't done it because I wanted to talk about it and make changes. And
I really like the way you simplified it. It's pretty direct and to the point for specific topics. So nice job on that.
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, what do we want to vote it into existence and replace this one?
What was the year of the old one, or was there old one?
There wasn't a year on the
So this is brand new.
Yeah, so this one is brand new. We would be adopting this and retiring this in its place. And I will make sure there's a year on this one.
How we retire?
So we're retiring our materials selection policy and adopting a collection management policy. And basically, It's confusing, but it basically,
So the material
Simplifies.
selection policy that you ended up sending, is that one?
the old one.
What's the new one
old
called?
one is being retired?
Yes, so that's my
So this one here
suggestion.
is the retiring one?
Yes.
Jen, what's the name of the new one?
The new one is called collection management policy.
Collection management policy. And the old one is called
The
material selection
selection policy. And I did look into that to kind of see what each library was calling their policy, because it's basically the same thing. The fact that you're calling it collection management encompasses the books that you're keeping on the shelf. So it's not just selecting, but what we're deciding to keep. So, there is a process if, we weed out certain items, and someone gets mad that we weeded out a book that they think we weeded it out for the wrong reasons, we can also point them to this direction. So it kind of covers us in not only the new books that we choose, but also in the books that we continue to keep on our shelves.
So the,
Jen,
Yes.
before we vote on that, would it be possible for us to have a copy that we can read? I know you've talked about it, but
Yes, I sent it in an email, did you get it?
I did get the email, but
Okay.
the new one was in there as well?
Yes, I put both of them, the old one
Okay.
and the new one.
Okay, I apologize, I didn't read it.
That's okay.
so basically the old one is just talking about like the different, like books, the different collections,
Yes, the different collections and how everything is chosen
yeah.
for the collections. And this one says that but generalizes
Yeah, okay.
instead of breaking
So, okay,
it down
just-
over. And because this is, we don't have computer
New
software.
title,
anymore.
and adult nonfiction, adult fiction, large print.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So it's just like kind of going over it.
So, yeah, it definitely simplifies it and cuts out a lot of this.
Request for review of library materials in place, and we're changing that, or that didn't exist?
Yes, it did, this one was a request for reconsideration of library materials. And we are going to replace the form with request for review of library materials. So just updated the wording a little, but it's the same form, just simplified. This one asks for a lot of information, probably a lot more than anyone wants to share. And yeah, in this old policy, it references the Western Mass Regional Library System, which doesn't even exist anymore.
I haven't done this.
It talks about media we don't even have anymore, like computer software. So
Updated this.
that's where I went with it. I'm comfortable if everyone wants to take a month to look it over again or read it more, or,
I just want to get the wording, Jen, down for the thing, so please bear with me. So it's, we are accepting and adopting the collection management policy.
yes.
But is there anything else that we, just, you said something about
The review, the second part of that is that sheet there.
Yes, along with, if you want to add, along with the request for review of library material
request.
form.
The request,
For review of library material form. In the place of the previous policy.
place to better serve needs of our library.
Yes. And I started with this policy because it's probably the most relevant with a lot of challenges happening around the country. It's good to have fresh,
Something in place.
fresh ideas and a more relatable policy, I think, for the public. If they do ever want to see it.
So
Are we
we're
discussing, or are we gonna vote?
voting it in, right?
We're discussing.
Or,
up to
do
you
you,
guys.
do you have anything else that you want to discuss about it?
It's up to you guys what you want to do.
I make a motion that we accept the
change in policies. I forget what they're called. But the changes in policy that we just discussed about the collection management policy, as well as to replace the materials selection policy.
Sorry, that was so confusing.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Don't make me say it again.
All in favor?
Aye.
So maybe I can do like print copies in the future for everyone to kind of maybe stop in and pick up beforehand. Would that be easier?
Yeah, maybe it's confusing.
What?
Like for the next policy, if we decide to do one for next month, I could print it out for everyone and have it like for pickup if you guys want to stop into the library and get it before the meeting. That way you're not all
Yeah,
like,
I'll look at that.
okay, I'll do.
on those.
Okay, what I'll do for the next month is I will put the date that this was adopted on it, and I'll print it out for everyone for their binders.
And maybe do both, Jen, like you send it electronically, and you can say in that send, we have paper copies available for everyone.
That's a good idea. That way, whoever is more comfortable with digital.
Yeah, this way, well, we can look at it ahead of time also,
Right.
like, in
Yeah,
online.
and I think I might have confused everyone with putting both in the same email.
Oh, we got it.
I might have been confusing. Okay, let me see.
Read the end of the slide of it.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it's
It
so
doesn't
tiny.
Oh, yeah.
It is weird. I read,
Okay.
An IT person there, Denise.
But you can make your font of the biggest one?
What's that?
You make your font like the biggest one. That's what
and
I,
I can't read any of it on the page.
oh, it's too big?
Yeah.
Yes. So you just have to keep going like this? That's what I have. I know it isn't.
So for next
I don't
month,
have
I
a
will,
computer anymore. I do everything on my phone.
for next month, I will get some statistics together. I will pick another policy to work on, and I will make sure there's paper copies. I'll email everyone beforehand, and yeah. I think that's everything I had.
The warrants done?
Yes, I've got the warrants. So I have three. I have one in the amount of $585.35. That's Baker and Taylor, Blackstone Publishing, Ingram Entertainment, and Staples. And then this last one, I did two separate, one for the funds from last year. That one's $646.84 for Baker and Taylor and Dorenzi Business Technologies. And then the one for this new fiscal year is $8,292.31. That includes our big CW Mars yearly network fee, which is why it's a scary amount. It's $7,747 we pay yearly. And then our Revistas, which is our magazine subscription for the year, is $545.31.
What did you say about the last year? The fund for last year?
So you'll see like at the top in red, one says FY
Oh,
'22,
okay.
one says FY '23, so that the town knows which
Okay.
year to take it from.
Yep.
Does every town that is part of CW Mars pay that?
Yes, all different, it depends on what kind of member you are, how your population is, what your usage is. So bigger libraries, yeah, pay even more than that. It's wild.
That's really a lot of money.
Yes.
And is that annual?
That is an annual, and that is with grant funding on top of it as well. It's normally over 8.
So
But
I'm
then
wondering if
we
that
get
money
offset.
supports the driver that
Yes,
loves
so yeah, it
deliveries.
supports our network, getting to have the software, all the people that work for the network, doing all that resource sharing,
Yeah.
all that. It's well worth
It
it,
sure is.
but it is a pain, it's a lot. We budget 10,000 in that account every year, just in case it's over, and then we use the extra money toward other
Have you seen it
technologies.
go up over?
A little bit. Last year's was about 7,500, so it's about 7,700, so it went up a little bit this past year. And it's also based on the usage, so the more our patrons use, the more it goes up. So it's one of those things that it's a good thing that it's going up, but then it's also It's a little more expensive, but it's well worth it.
And so that's CWMRs and Revistas?
And
Is it
Revistas.
both annual?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we pay an annual for all of our subscriptions to one company, which is super lovely. That's all I have. If anyone else has anything.
I make a motion that we accept the warrants as read.
Oh, sorry, yes. Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Not that I'm rushing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I do have some things to bring up, if you don't mind.
No.
Sure.
Alice's garden, it is officially weeded and mulched.
Wow.
White Hollow is going to come out as low paths to where the stones are, so the Boy Scouts can get out there. It hasn't been mowed, and sometimes the grass is getting very, very tall out there, and they wanted to have it mowed so that they can access it. I mean, I walked out there the other day, and my legs are all scraped up because there's so many things growing up there, and they're very tall. So they volunteered to do that, and they're going to do it again when the Boy Scouts are ready to come out and build a stone wall for us. In addition to that, while he was here, Mr. White, he started looking at all the landscaping that Janet Hartley has planted and volunteers have been taking care of for the last, I think it's 9 years or is it 10 years? And he said, you know what, this place really needs some serious trimming. Because we have all these beautiful trees that we've planted and they're growing, so after 10 years, there are some, he pointed out some trees to me that definitely needed trimming, and
Pruning?
things are growing into the building, and he's right, it needs to be attended, and it doesn't feel like the town is equipped with, horticulturists who can do a good job trimming things. So I said, feel free to give me a quote. And as we were sitting here tonight, I got a quote from them. And it's, just pull it up, just so we know we're all on the same page. And it sounds like a lot, but I think in the long run, if we start taking care of our plantings out here, I think it will be, beneficial for the next 20, 30 years. We can't continue to rely on volunteers to take care of these things. It's just gotten too big, too big for, us volunteers to do that. So it says, this quote includes pruning of the trees, bushes, and perennials located at the Granby Public Library. In addition to pruning, the existing weeds in the garden beds will be removed. All debris associated with the work will be removed from the site. And it's a quote of $1,500. Sounds like a lot, but he's done a
I
lot
don't think that's a lot at all.
free work for us in the past,
Right.
helping with Alice's garden.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Helen, what's his official name so I can put it into the minutes? What is his
Sorry,
name? His first and last name?
It's White Hollow Yard and Home. And let me see. His last name is White.
That's the name of the company.
Jen, let me see.
I think it's James.
James White.
White is the color?
Yes.
James White. I think he's a policeman as well, and he has a side job. Not side job. He has a side business that he operates.
Yes.
I think that's a pretty good price, honestly.
So what about the mulch?
White on something?
That's a whole
Hollow.
different.
Hollow.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
topic. We
Yeah.
can ask them to mulch it, or we can buy mulch
As a
and
grant.
ask people to volunteer to mulch it. But if he's pulling out the weeds, it would be a good time to mulch it as
Yeah.
well. In the past, we have bought mulch ourselves and have volunteers mulch it. However, I believe the town said that they would do it for us a couple of years back, and they haven't done that yet. That's something we could ask them, Jen?
Definitely. I know we're on an every other year rotation of when we get our mulch done. So I'll talk to Jeremy about it and see if maybe it's something we could do in conjunction with having this work done.
Yeah, I think it would be perfect timing. But I don't believe the town has ever mulched here before. I think, to my knowledge, it's probably been mulched 2 or 3 times. And I think, what is it, 9 years or is it 10 years?
9 years, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
we've
desperate
gotten away with, a lot of bargaining for kind of like flying by the seat of our pants here, really.
So that $1,500, is that something that you have money in the budget for that, or is that something that we bring?
Have a budget for that.
Yeah, the trustees have a landscaping and furnishing account
Okay.
held with the Friends. So that would definitely would more than cover quite a bit of money in there, so.
So what does that $1,500 include? Is that trimming,
Can you repeat
shrubs,
that?
what it was? Yeah, can you repeat what that 1,500
Sure.
Detailed, yep.
It's actually very basic. It's not very inclusive of which gardens, which areas they're gonna trim, but if you walk around, it's pretty big. It says pruning of trees, bushes, and perennials located at the Granby Public Library, in addition to pruning the existing weeds in the garden beds, which will be removed. All debris associated with the work will be removed from the site. And I can certainly get more specifications from them as to what that really includes.
Yeah, that sounds really like a good plan.
And mulching is included in that?
No.
It's not included, no. So we have to talk with the
Fingers
town.
crossed that the town will help us out so we can have it in line.
Yeah, I'll see what their thinking is on that.
Okay.
Try to get it. It'd be nice if we could kind of do it in conjunction with it, you
Yes.
know.
Well, we could check with the town, and if they are unable to supply the manpower or whatever, I mean, we could always buy more mulch and maybe ask the Boy Scouts to come back out in the fall. We could do it in a 2-step thing, and that's worked before. And I think we've had honor students too that needed some community service. So those are other options.
Okay. I think we should go for it.
Yeah.
So do we have to make a vote to,
Well, I think Helen, can you get more specifics from Mr. White as to what exactly
Sure.
that quote includes?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what we walked around and he mentioned to me, and he was talking about the birch trees. The trees were getting I guess some of the lower branches needed trimming. And then if you're looking at the front of the building, to the left, there's trees that are grown into the eaves. But that's about as far as we got. But there are a lot of garden beds back there. I mean, where the dinosaur is, where the seating is, there's all kinds of beds back there. So I can certainly check with them to see that includes all of the beds. And there are also beds going to the right of the building that I think that's just like a area where people drop stuff off. So I could be checking with them to ensure that includes all of the gardens. 'Cause there are quite a few.
If it does include all the gardens, that is a good price.
so what's his timeline? Did he say when he'd be able to do something like that?
Well, from what I have seen, I mean, I didn't get a timeline from him, but Luke Berry calls him and he's there. So he's been right on.
Okay.
Like he did a lot of work for us with Alice's garden. He brought in, I forget what they call it, but they cut out all the grass where we created the garden, did all that, and it was just like, okay, I'll be there at 8 o'clock, and they were there and gone in like 30 minutes. So it seems like he's very organized and, it's very, he's got his act together. So I could certainly reach out to them, get a little bit more information as to what that includes.
I feel like I'm not stressed about that.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thanks for doing that, Helen.
Yeah, really, Helen, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who suggested it, I had never thought it, but, you know, Janet, Hartley, myself, Michelle, I mean, many of us, we've been out there weeding and trimming and cutting, but, you know, we're just the few of us, and it's a big area to take care of it all, so, you know, might be something we need to do on a, 5-year basis or 10-year basis, just to
Right.
continue to make our building look beautiful.
Absolutely. Right.
All right, so I can report next month as to what more that entails.
Okay.
And I have one last thing I wanted to ask. In reading the minutes, we had talked about possibly forming a committee to assist with research of options and plans going forward in the event there are not enough staff persons here to keep the building open. Is that something we want to revisit?
I think we were gonna create a committee to work on the 2 staff positions that I have, that I'd like to approach the town about.
Okay, so, you don't want to research other ways of keeping the building open without adding staff, you just want to add staff?
I think that's the way we, I don't
Well,
know.
there was a discussion about, people doing a quarry check. Again, like, some of the trustees, so that they could come in and help
Right.
or be here, at least be here.
And like get the word out to
if that
everyone
is something.
sooner.
So I
if something
know that was
happens.
discussed last month, so,
Yeah, it says this was tabled until July meeting, so.
Yeah, I know we had talked about doing a
Want to revisit
committee.
that or not?
So are we talking about doing a committee to help you, Jen, form a presentation for the town to try to get them to buy into the need for more staff?
Yeah, that's my focus is to create a couple of part-time positions. So we would need to come up with job descriptions, we would need to figure out, what we'd be looking at as far as pay goes, and then making the presentation to pitch to the powers that be in town, talking to the finance committee.
I'm not sure what not that we wouldn't support you, but sitting on a committee, it would be hard for me to say, for example, what you need, because I don't know what you need, I could see you putting together a little proposal and throwing it out to all of us, and then we have a discussion like, well, why did you do that? Why are you asking this? What,
Right, and we could do it that way as well, but we bring it back to a meeting.
I mean, does
all
anybody
discuss-
else feel like we could, again, I'm into total support. It's just, I don't know what we could do to help that. I could be off base, I don't know. Help me, people, help me.
I think the main need would be when we bring it to the town, to
Absolutely.
have that, the support of, this is what the library really needs, and, I could do most of the footwork of getting all of that put together, and then bring it back to the board. I think sometimes the purpose of having a subcommittee is so that there isn't these, there aren't these long meetings where we sit here and really pick apart things, but
That's true.
I'm okay with doing it either way. That we can pick it apart in a smaller group, or we can pick it apart here at the meetings.
and probably a subcommittee would be like good to have to come up with more ideas to present to the select board and say, these are the reasons why we are looking to hire 1 to 2 part-time staff or something,
We probably would
Well,
have
like
to
I
meet
feel
a
like
lot.
more people putting their more minds together.
Yeah. So either way, we pitch our budget usually in December, January-ish. So we have until then to kind of figure all this out.
Yeah.
So, I've started to collect job descriptions from all the libraries in the area and getting like what their pay scales are, what, they expect as far as requirements for people who are going to be taking these jobs. So, we just kind of have to sit down and compile it and decide what we think is best for here and what we think the town might allow for.
Well, I do feel like those of us who can do a query to be able to,
I'm always-
be
Yes,
called
that too.
to.
I'll be always working.
You say that you're always Cory, but doesn't it have to be a Cory specific?
Oh, with the building, okay,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Cory's
Your
nice.
Cory doesn't go with you, girl.
Unfortunately, but you'll pass, so
You're
that's, you're
Yeah.
halfway there.
That's true.
Because I've had
That's
so
true.
many Corys in my life.
I had a background one time, and I'm like, they're like, you're not rolling right.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm so sorry, but no. Right.
Oh my goodness, isn't that funny?
So what do we need to do to become Cory for you?
I have the forms here at the library. You just have to come in with your license or ID and fill out the form, and I just verify that I checked your ID, and then I submit it to the town. And it usually takes a week or two for it to get processed. And
How long does a Cory last? I mean, I'm Cory, but
A year,
is that,
a year or two.
oh, that's all?
that, you know what, I was
I
gonna
don't
go
know,
to that.
I don't know if it's a year or 2 years.
I think it's only a year.
Because we're never asked to re-Cory.
Yeah, I was never.
But I
What?
can find out.
Oh, yeah, you're right, it's maybe it's just like if you, once you're pouring in the building, it's probably gonna be a little bit forever.
Yeah, I'll
That's a
look.
really good question.
Yeah, because that was on my list of things and I didn't look into that last month,
Yeah, 'cause
so,
I was Cory when we were still in the other building.
yeah. So I mean, I assume they probably do want to re-Cory at some point.
It'll just be good to be up to date. with
Yeah,
the
and know,
Cory,
yeah,
so,
what-
you know.
We're ready if we need to, for sure.
It'd be, yeah.
Excuse me, yeah.
So we can all just stop by the library and
Fill
fill out
out
a form?
And the town pays for that, because that's.
Yeah, the town submits it.
Very simple.
$30.
$30.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I had to pay for it, and then got reimbursed, that was $35.
Wow.
So those forms are here.
Yes, I have them here. Okay, so do you want to start a committee? What are we thinking?
Well,
Would anybody
we
want?
seem to have like a little bit of time, and I don't know, would be.
I'd be willing to be on the committee for sure.
Okay, why don't we want to put one together? And
Okay. I didn't know if we wanted to wait till everybody was here.
I mean, Michelle is here.
Michelle and Janet.
That's right, Janice isn't here.
Well, what would be the function again?
To work on the two
Ideas.
new positions.
Ideas
Staffing, for
to.
staffing.
For staffing, that's the job descriptions or, well, we don't know that yet. Okay.
Just sort of
Okay.
staffing committee where we can work on all those things, I think.
Should we say, we put it out, we're hoping to form a committee by the next meeting?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can put
If
that in the
anyone's
notes,
interested.
and then we can see if anybody else.
Three. Three people.
3 including you?
Three not including me, so like
That sounds good.
3 trustees. Why me?
And then what's, I missed the last part, sorry, about, are we gonna?
Yeah, no, so we're just coming up with the idea of forming a committee to work on, like, ideas for our part-time. Yeah, I got that.
Of announcement.
So, and we can decide at the next meeting for, like, to have, like, everybody present. Yeah, thank you.
And I'll keep working on stuff in the background in the meantime. Get all that people together.
I had one more thing that I wanted to say for other, was putting information out there on social media. I mean, stuff that people already know, but, kind of as a reminder, like when we ended up having 4th of July and that we were closed on Saturday. To just kind of put it out there as a reminder, to say, as a reminder, the library will be closed on Saturday, July, whatever, due to the holiday, just so that people can see, oh, that's right,
So you're
and.
saying to put it
Like on
on
Facebook?
website?
Yeah, like just on Facebook so that people can just see it. I mean, and I know you put it on the website.
Yeah, we put it on the website, we put it on our calendar, we put all the signs here in the building and on the door.
Yeah.
But
Good news, Granby. Good news, Granby.
Yeah, I love
That-
it.
that-
I do that all the time.
So like it would
Is
be
it
like a good
Facebook?
news Granby
I don't know if I
and
have
Granby town
access.
meeting.
Yeah.
I do.
I have it too.
it's weird because the way that it's set up, it's linked to, this like has to be linked to a personal account, and then you are like an admin of the Friends of the Granby Library page. And so you can go in and you can make posts, but it doesn't let you then post it in any groups. Like
Oh, okay.
I could post in a group from like my personal name, but it wouldn't let me post in a group from the Friends for some reason. Like I can't join groups as the
Okay.
Friends. It's very strange because I tried, but it only does it personally, which
Somebody always puts the trash, I'm like, really?
Yes.
Can you not remember it's like still the same person. Like, I know one person.
But
not
you know
to
what?
say-
That helps
There's all-
out.
It does.
That helps.
right, it does.
Because
Sometimes
this
I
is
see
what
it,
I-
I'm
alright.
like,
Is
This
there a
is what I
holiday this
do.
week? What happened?
No, this is what I do. So I take the trash out, and when I take it back in, whatever one's next week, I put it in the
Oh,
front.
yes.
So I never have to remember which one goes out.
That's true. Well, I have a calendar, I look at it, but I
You
don't.
put it still on the post.
But I'm saying, like, if you have a holiday on Monday and our pickup is Friday, by Friday
Oh,
comes,
that's
you
nice.
forget that there was a holiday, so
Yeah.
you're just like putting your trash out.
My
So I
Thursday.
appreciate those
Those on
reminders.
Saturday, Jim?
They come on Saturday.
Right, the reminders, well,
That's
it's like for the Juneteenth holiday. some
Everyone
people
forgot
did
about
not-
that.
They
Everybody
forgot about it, yes.
Yeah, I know, that was,
So-
I almost forgot about
Yeah,
that
I
one
don't know,
too.
just to put it out there as a reminder, but so you
Okay.
can't do it, you can't
That's what
post
you
it
do.
from the Friends.
I can post it on the Friends, like from the Friends, but I can't then like put that post on any of the
Oh, okay.
groups.
So
You know what I'm
I
saying?
wonder if like we could share it as on
probably
our
could.
personal page onto the Granby pages, like
Yeah.
Granby Masks, Granby Town Meeting, and Granby.
Yeah, because everything's public, everything is shareable.
Yeah.
So it would just
They
be,
put it on.
so whoever follows the Facebook that's the Friends, they'll see it on their feed.
Okay.
But if someone's looking for it in a specific group, it won't pop
Okay.
up.
All right.
So,
So I feel like, I don't know, I just want to see if we can do that, even if it's, like
The
myself
more
or
we can
Kate
get
can
our
do it.
messages out on all these different platforms.
Yes.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, and I've noted, like, we try to post a lot of pictures of things that are happening here in the building and try to just keep blasting stuff out
Just put
there.
some stuff on the children's thing, like I share.
Yes, we have a children's one, we have a teen one, and then we have
Anything you
the
put there, I'm gonna
Friends.
share it.
Awesome, that's great. Just, yeah, the more,
Under the Friends of the Granby
I
Library.
know, River Janice was on ours.
yeah, she has a
The children's
children's
page,
page,
yeah.
a teen page, and then we have the Friends
Right,
page,
sure.
which is just like the general
Yeah.
library, so.
Well,
So I'll see if I can try to keep up with something like that, just to
Awesome.
share, yeah.
Yeah, and whenever I
As
see
it's just a
let me
reminder,
know.
because even like Candace said, just being a reminder, like with the trash thing,
Right.
somebody posting.
Because more people
Don't forget, we
probably
ended up having a holiday.
wake up and scroll Facebook than they wake up and check the library's website and say, like, oh, I wonder if the library's open today. You know what I mean? Like, you just go to the library because it's what you do. So yeah, that makes more sense.
But yeah, a lot of people do get up and what do they do in the morning, having a cup of coffee?
Right, you scroll your Facebook, that's what you do. All right, perfect. I will make sure
I
that
make a
everyone's on board.
motion, we're all set here
Yep.
to adjourn the meeting at
Second that.
7:30.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.